Doom vivamus vivamos Epicureans. This is the BCE Comics Pod one-shot edition. I'm your host, Nick Smith, and I'm joined by...
Stojr from Stojr Shelf. How's it going, Nick?
I'm doing well, particularly since we are participating in Kurtis Findlay's Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club, and this one-shot is going to be our brief thoughts on today's issue, which is Uncanny X-Men number 177, Sanction. John Romita Sr. takes over on the inking. Have we already talked about how he's not actually a senior and Junior's not actually a junior?
No.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, John Romita Jr., he's not actually a junior. I think he has a different middle name than his father. But of course, once he got hired on at Marvel, the joke was, Junior is now working for his dad. So, it basically him being a junior is a joke. So
I never knew that.
Yeah. All right, we are also told in the UPC box on the cover that this is Assistant Editors Month, and that means Elliot Brown is listed as the editor, taking over from Louise Simonson. Now, I gave a little background on Assistant Editors Month in X-Men Annual number 7 when we did that episode, so that's 2 days ago, I think, from when this comes out, so go back and check on that. I'll add, though, that in the credits, Virginia Romita is listed as the traffic manager, which basically meant she was managing publishing schedules as best as I can remember. I swear I heard an interview with one of the Romitas who spoke about it at one point, but I couldn't find it again, and I couldn't find anything else on Virginia Romita other than her being married to John Romita Sr., right? So they're definitely playing up the family affair in this and gain Virginia credit in the book.
Hey, comics are a family affair. You got the Buscemias, you got the Kuberts, you got the Romitas. I mean,
yeah, the comic dynasties, right? All right, so this issue is actually just kind of a standard story in terms of Assistant Editors Month. The only difference is there is a one-page backup story featuring Xavier kicking Assistant Editor Brown in the butt, but that can be found in the back of the volume as bonus material. They don't actually put it with the comic, but that would have been in the original comic. All right, as for the story itself, Mystique succeeds in defeating the X-Men independently, except that we learn that it was a simulation, and she was facing Arcade's robotic simulations of the X-Men. Well, encouraged by this, she wants the rest of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants to train against these robots so that she can attack and take Rogue back. She's convinced that Rogue has been brainwashed by Xavier to join the X-Men team. Well, the Brotherhood get their chance to strike when Nightcrawler, Amanda Sefton, Colossus, and Kitty Pryde attend a showing of the ballet. Well, the Blob attacks Colossus, who is then imprisoned by Pyro, superheating his skin, and Colossus then has to face truckloads of liquid nitrogen, which seems to turn him into stone. All right, Stojr, what are your thoughts?
I thought this was a pretty fun issue. A lot of action. I mean, straightforward story, obviously. The art is noticeably different with his dad kind of inking and bringing it more towards his dad's style than JRJR's normal style. As you go through this, I thought that the slow and methodical way that they showed Mystique taking down the X-Men was kind of fun and interesting, even if you kind of knew that something was up most of the way through. When I look at the way that Arcade can create these robots or whatever the heck they are that mimic all the powers, I sort of scratch my head a little bit. I don't know where he's getting a teleporting robot and things like that, but it would have been more believable to me if they had some sort of limitations. Like the storm. There was like wind machines behind the storm or something like that, or whatever. But the teleporting Nightcrawler was, that was kind of taking the cake there for me a little bit. The page and a half or the page of the two couples going out to dinner, it just feels like, and maybe I'm just gonna have to let this go because eventually it will be let go, but like. They're brother and sister, which I guess I don't have as big of a problem with because they're not literally brother and sister. But there's still this 5-year age gap, and they're like playing up the relationship here. And I'm just glad it'll be shut down eventually.
You're talking about Colossus and Kitty now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Colossus and Kitty.
Yeah.
I don't have as much of a problem with Amanda and Nightcrawler because like we were like told that they were raised together, but like we didn't experience any of that, so I kind of can like mentally ignore it. But like you can't ignore that we just celebrated Kitty's 14th birthday at the back of an epic not too long ago, right?
Hmm.
And I guess there's a part of me that's like, well, he's a country bumpkin. He's just a Russian country bumpkin, and it wasn't that weird back then, but it still just kind of bothers me for some reason. Maybe it's just because I have a daughter now. I don't know. Um, but I found again, like going to the methodical way that Mystique was pretending to take down the X-Men. I thought there was an actual methodical way that they took down Colossus and Kitty, or just Colossus, really, at the end of this that kind of made sense and was well planned out. So I enjoyed that. And we got a little interlude with some separation for the people going off into space and not air, and staying on Earth in the middle there. So I really enjoyed this issue, and I like what it sets up for the Brotherhood to be, foils for the X-Men. What did you think?
Yeah. I admittedly was a little worried at the start, knowing that it was Assistant Editors Month and what that meant. And then we had Mystique taking out all the X-Men by herself, and including, this power suit that she suddenly has. I thought, oh no, this is just going to be a dream sequence or something like that, and maybe we're not going to get the X-Men as a team in this book again, because I mentioned the last issue we only had Cyclops and Wolverine. I thought, are we just dragging things out more? But it did come back together well. And while not entirely together as a team, we at least get a check-in with all of the members of the X-Men this time, with the exception of Wolverine and Rogue. So, but Rogue still kind of played a role in that she's the MacGuffin in a way for why Mystique is doing what she's doing now. And seeing John Romita Sr. inking his son's work, that's always interesting. It's happened a couple of times, I think, but I can't think of another instance off the top of my head now. You can certainly see some of those Romita Sr. details over some of the more, I don't know, dramatic layouts, if you will, of John Romita Jr., more quote-unquote modern layouts. Not something I would expect Romita Sr. to draw, but then seeing, I'm so familiar with that style from his time on X-Men, or not X-Men, Spider-Man, that it's an interesting combination.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's been many issues of Spider-Man over the years, anniversary issues, or that we've seen them in. I mean, I'm pretty sure even just the Epic collection that was released this month with Amazing Spider-Man 500 in it had a couple of backup pages with Romita Sr. in it. So they shared the issue. I don't know that they shared the pages together necessarily. But I'm sure there's been cases where they've also, inked each other's work and things like that we've seen.
Yeah, I know I've seen something before. I just can't name it. All right, Stojr, any other final thoughts?
I mean, I think the this Brotherhood team is really interesting to me. It feels very classic to me. When you think about like this team with Magneto, it was very corny, like very 60s, And when I think about the Hellfire Club as the last like kind of team fighting the X-Men, I know that they fought like the Shi'ar and the Brood and things like that, but like this is like a villainous team. It's their Masters of Evil or whatever you want to call it. This is much more interesting to me, this team of mutants, than just the guys in suits, right? Where really it was Sebastian's really the one that you focus on, but the other ones kind of fade in the background. Here each individual character is very interesting, so I'm looking forward to this.
Yep. No, I agree. This is the best version of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Maybe if you have Magneto join this group, as they kind of did in the movies, that might elevate it. But yep, this is the better version of that. All right. Well, once again, if you guys have enjoyed our thoughts, follow us on YouTube. We're going to read, rate, and review a full big collected edition once a month, plus these daily one-shots. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.